Welcome to Cinema 5D on the Couch, the talk show with filmmakers and industry leaders. Brought to you by G Technology, Rode Microphones, Movidium, Film Convert, and FNV.
I mean, I'm a complete, amateur when it comes to designing lenses. So, is there a way maybe to in the future make a cine lens that can also have the photo features that photographers want? Let's say, autofocus or something like that, and still have a really long focus throw on the lens barrel to use them in a manual way, Or is that something that is just, too wide, probably two different applications?
I mean,
I'll go first. So with a lot of the photo lenses, actually you require a lot of quick focusing, and usually photo lenses have a 90-degree focus angle, so you can focus real quick between near and far. And usually for cine users, they require a longer throw to be very precise and to have a very smooth movement. And usually for that, they're looking for, usually for more entry-level products, they're looking for 180 degrees. Or maybe for some, I should say, a lot of owner-operator video makers, they're looking for 270 degrees or more. So, and with the more professional market, they're looking for 300 degrees, and it's impossible, at least we think it's impossible to merge into the same lens. You can have 90 degrees and 300 degrees at the same time
maybe
in the same lens. Yeah, maybe switchable. for us, we do a lot of mechanical lenses, and it's not possible.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've slowly split our line into two. With the new PL lens, we offer the 300 degrees. And then with our more entry-level lenses, we stick to about 180 degrees, so that it's closer to both photo and video function, but then not all the way towards video. So so that's what we've done.
Mm-hmm. So,
Samyang has in the Nikon version there is a focus assist, and there's some communication between the camera and your focus points in the camera. That might be even a good idea to be introduced in the Cine series, so you can, when you're shooting video, you also you don't really need to use it, but you could use it. And in photography, it's really easy, just a little assist to the focusing. That might be a solution to bring things a little closer together. It's not there yet, but it might be something.
Yeah,
it's a really difficult question.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think you see a lot of production companies now, even on some higher end jobs, using lower end lenses for some purposes.
Yeah.
So I think that has, Zeiss has been around for a very long time. You started with these lenses when there were there were not many other manufacturers making high-end cine lenses, and I'm sure you have seen the market shift. I mean, you, Christoph, you know especially a lot about the DSLR lenses, I would say. So I'm sure you get in touch with a lot of filmmakers too who use them for productions, right?
Yeah, obviously. So basically, of course, it will be very difficult to merge everything, and the more professional guys, they have other kind of requirement than the guys that will use the SLR. So of course, it's always a compromise for the people that use our SLR lenses. You know it probably better. So on the set, what's important is whenever I want to change my lens, it must be fast, so I don't need to redo all those settings. That's why, for example, our compact primes are real cine lenses where everything is on the same place, the marking are on the same place, so that it's very efficient. I will win time.
And they're really time efficient. I work with compact primes a lot, and they're really time efficient.
Yeah.
You can just open your matte box, open your follow focus, and swap the lens, and it's really easy. That's something I miss in Samyang sometimes, because there's little differences.
Yeah. So, but
you just made an ad for you.
Yeah, thank you.
But
no, but
really
then
great,
on the other hand, the Samyang offers a very, cost efficient.
Yeah.
So it depends, if you can afford. If you have a lot of time pressure, then perhaps it's better to spend more money, But if you, everyone make compromise in the life. So I think Yeah, people happy with the SLR lenses. There are also companies that rework them, so
Yeah.
they will buy a set of SLR lenses from us, and they will rework them and make them cine style. So we currently concentrate really. We still separate it. So we say SLR lenses are now for still photography. And the compact prime is really our line of lenses for more professional cine. So we still didn't make the move to
Of course, yeah.
it's perhaps because at Zeiss we are quite bad at making compromises, at the moment where you so it's
You also, you
it's difficult
compromise
for us.
picture quality.
Yeah, so I mean it's difficult for us, but perhaps one day it will come. Let's see if we learn how to make compromises.
Yeah, actually, with a lot of still lenses, a lot of still users, they're looking for like the perfect image, like everything's flawless. But then actually for filming, a lot of filmmakers are looking for a lens of a very unique character. And so actually for our cine lenses, we actually take a lot of time to figure out how different coatings would have a different lens flare. And actually for still users, if they hear a lens flare, it's like, oh, that's a horrible lens. But for filmmakers, it's like, oh, beautiful flare. Yeah, so actually in that aspect is maybe sometimes filmmakers are looking for a different character. And
That's strange. Why
still
is that?
users.
I mean, even as I'm a filmmaker, but as a photographer, I would imagine, I might like the odd flare sometimes. So it's strange.
Yeah, what do you think about photographers liking flares in the lens?
At least the size photographers, they don't like it. That's really what we spend. I mean, if I look at how we develop a lens, making the optical design, perhaps, let's say, 70% of the time is nailing down the contrast, chromatic aberrations of blah, blah, blah. And at the end, we still spend 30% more just to kill all those flares. So it's really, I mean, and Zeiss has developed, I mean, it's a huge tool. So we simulate this stuff hours in order to eliminate every kind of flare. So, and that's just because our guys, they really don't like it. They really don't like this flares.
For us, it's like we make a lens like a recent anamorphic adapter. We spent 8 months to get the right flare. We try all methods to get the right flare for our users. Like they say this flare is the wrong color. They say it's too strong. We want more subtle and it cannot be straight. It has to be in little bits and parts, and it drives you crazy to get the perfect flare for our customers. So it seems like filmmakers and still photographers, they're looking for two very different things.
Yeah, I think the filmmaker might want to do everything on set, that it's in camera correct. And so if they want the flare, they make it in camera, and maybe that photographers want just the perfect image and then work on it later afterwards.
That's an interesting point, I think, because we, as cinematographers, we are used to making the image in a way that, as you said, it's kind of final. It's like even the whole movement of raw images with log has taken a while to catch on. The people accept that you should shoot flat mode so you can do it in post-production, because cinematographers, especially the traditional guys, are very used to retaining that control, and actually what they frame is gonna be the end. That's how it is. But now with 4K, you can crop into the image, so you lose a bit of the control. And I agree. I mean, probably a lot of people are looking for creating that look in camera. Whereas, when you talk about eliminating flares, to have a very neutral image, of course, gives you a lot of versatility in post-production. You can do everything with it. Well, on the other hand, you have to recreate the characteristic of a flare, which you might be able to create in camera with other lenses. So.
But I think that's interesting, because that shows that there are different philosophy, and I mean it's good that every brand can be recognized. So for example, so you say you spend a lot of time to make a
the right flare.
It's a part of your brand. So Zeiss is known, to make lenses that are very neutral. So we make our lenses extremely neutral. So that basically we don't decide for the others how your picture or your film will look like. So you will be able to decide because our lenses will render neutrally. So it's interesting, but at least
Yeah. And also, with a lot of the still lenses, usually still lenses, if you have like, let's say 5 or 6 choices, they may be very unique look. So each lens has its own character, and a lot of photographers love that. But for a filmmaker, it may be a nightmare because there's a lot of editing afterwards. So we also spend a lot of time to make sure the lenses match in the color, the breathing, the bokeh characteristics has to be similar. So with video lenses, a lot of people like to buy them as a whole set within the same brand because they like to have a unique look. But then for still photos, people are more willing to try different lenses to have a unique look for every single lens they have. So in that sense, still lenses are a little different from cinema lenses.
Yeah. So Joost, what's Samyang's take on flares? We heard the other two.
Well, actually, I have no clue what they do on flares. Some lenses do have some flares, but there's a new coating that should eliminate some flares. So I think I'll have to join with Zeiss.
There's a flare elimination.
So one of the challenges I think you guys are facing is the sheer amount of different lens mounts that are on the market right now, and I think it's still getting more. I don't know. From time to time, I hear of a mount I never heard of before, and so we know that there are interchangeable mounts with different brands. But where do you think this is all moving? Will there be one mount in the future, or will we still have to live with this multitude? Will it become more, and how can you deal with it?
So without saying if there will be one mount or not in the future, just let's start. It's horrible. So from a consumer point of view, customer point of view, it's horrible because when I invest in a system, so I'm caught in this. So Zeiss a couple of years ago introduced this interchangeable mount system on the CP, on the CP2. So that this was basically our answer, to let you leverage your invest, because obviously the lens is the invest. It's not the camera. The camera, after two years it's outdated. You will change your camera. So with the CP2, we allow you to invest in the lenses, and then if you want to change the system and your mount, you can do this. On the still side, we are still not there. So we still have, dedicated EF mount and F mount. But at least it would be good if sometime the manufacturer would agree with each other, find some kind of standard, because it's really horrible.
I think we have 12 different mounts on Samyang, and even sometimes.
I didn't even know 12
wow.
systems.
Yeah, well, you want me to name them all?
Try, because
we have a regular Canon mount, we have a Canon M mount, we have a Nikon F mount, Nikon 1 mount, Fuji X in black and silver, Sony E in black and silver, Sony Alpha, Micro Four Thirds, Samsung, Pentax, and I think I'm forgetting one or two, and sometimes in different colors, and there's just a lot of mounts, and I think something with interchangeable mounts might be the solution there. But Micro Four Thirds is coming up, and it's maybe a bit fight between full frame and Micro Four Thirds. We even have lenses specially made for full frame that don't. They will fit on Micro Four Thirds for great coverage, but also the other way around. We get a full frame lens with a Micro Four Thirds mount, but that's no. I'm contradicting myself. Excuse me. There's lenses made for Micro Four Thirds. Let me get it.
That's right. So you have lenses made for Micro Four Thirds and others made for full frame, and you can use them vice versa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my throat is aching.
So how the hard thing is, I think, 12 different mounts. You must end up with 1 million different lenses in your.
You should see the warehouse.
In your inventory.
There's a lot of lenses, and they're like we have 12 different lenses right now, I believe, maybe even more. And they're expanding still. So there's a lot. I think, I don't know what the solution is, but I think Zeiss warehouse is even bigger. So we're still good.
Yeah, with the mounts, we kept changing the way we go towards that because, of course, we're trying to make try to have a solution so that our customer don't have to spend money on a new lens every time, because occasionally we'd had a customer who said, well, I bought your 35-1.4 in the E-mount, but now I got a micro four thirds camera. Could you change it to a micro four thirds for me? It sounds simple, but sometimes it's not that simple because a lot of mechanics are different.
Yeah.
With photography lenses, like I know some brands they offer a professional service where you can send in a lens and have the mount swapped professionally, and but then sometimes it doesn't work too well for users because a lot of users, they prefer a particular focus ring direction or particular aperture ring direction, and by just changing the mount, they'll be like, well, I'm used to turning this way and not that way, can you change that too? And it's very difficult. It's like changing a left-hand drive car to a right-hand drive car. And it was like, just switch it. It's not that easy. And but then as we move to cine lenses, actually there's more of a standard. People know which focus ring direction they want and which aperture ring direction they want. And by just changing the mounts, they stick to that standard. So it's actually easier with cine lenses. So we've tried that approach first with, we have micro four thirds, E-mount lenses, X-mount lenses. We have a variety. Well, like 2 years ago, we started making M-mount lenses because M-mounts are very adaptable in many systems through an adapter, so that whenever a customer changes a camera, they can use the same lens again, and it's less of an investment for them. But then it seems it's more of a trend only 2 years ago because mirrorless was very new, and people had no idea what mirrorless was, how the smaller sensor would react, and how the quality is. And people would go from system A to system B, and then they buy system C, and they go back to system A again. Like we have close customers ourselves who to change a system every month in Hong Kong because they are still unsure what they want. And for those users, it's better to have a lens they can always use. But then actually now people are very clear with what they want, and now they're like, well, can you have like a non-adapter solution? So now we're starting to have like more concentration on like lenses just for micro four thirds, or lenses just for like APS-C size sensors. But then with our new PL mount lens, it's very different because first, there isn't much play with PL mounts. With the positive locking, it locks the lens in place. But then, whereas if you have like a regular lens mount, when you do manual focus, sometimes there's slight play, which is sometimes fine for still photos, but for cinema users, that play would cause a shifting image, and they do not like that. But then, luckily with a PL mount solution, like PL mounts are usually made with more durable materials, and usually more professional manufacturers make the PL mounts. They make it so that there's absolutely no play at all. With the PL mount adapters, they're usually made very well, much better than the other lens adapters, because with the PL mounts, both the manufacturer and the user knows that you can't just put an adapter and expect it to work right away. Like they maybe have a 15 millimeter like a rod support, and then they adapt the PL adapter to the rods to make sure there's no movement, and also they may have a lens support to support the lens to make sure there's no tilt from the weights of the lens. And usually PL lens users, they do not have much of an issue of image degradation from using an adapter, so they'd really appreciate maybe a PL lens that would work with different camera systems they have.
So I guess one of the problems is that you cannot adapt every mount to any other mount, and I think a lot of people don't realize that when they first buy into a lens system, right?
Yeah, and also, I mean, again, it depends on the compromise you are ready to do. I mean, for example, they are, in the professional world, the guys are even adjusting the back focal distance, so it's very important. So if you're ready, to live with small variation, then you can probably adapt. It will never be as good as pure real native mount. It's very difficult. So yeah.
Thanks for watching this segment of this episode of Cinema 5D on the Couch. Thanks to our sponsors G Technology, Rode Microphones, Film Convert, F&V, and Movidium.com. And tune in to see the next segment to see these 3 lens manufacturers talk about their products and what's happening in the field of lenses. Thank you.